little bit now about, so we were talking about, when you walk in the door at home, you have a choice to make.
Yeah.
You take some deep breaths and you suck it up and you just trudge through to be able to help everyone else, or
Right.
do you make it worse? It's one or the other, right?
Yeah.
And part of that is trying to kind of almost control the outcome, right? Is how do we control the outcome of the situation? At work in my office, one of my big quotes on my whiteboard right in my office is E plus R equals O, right? So the event plus the response equals the outcome.
Yep.
So the event is, to me, 20% of the equation, 10, and our response is 90, 80 or 90.
Yeah.
I know you talked a little bit about, like, when we were when we were at Muscle Mart last time, and we were just talking a little bit about, like, you gave the example, someone pulls out in front of you, yes, and if that's compounding an already bad day for you, if you respond terribly versus if you respond like giving someone some grace, like, you never know, maybe they just got a call that someone that they love is got admitted to the hospital. Like, I think, we talk about, we can't control what happened, but you control how you respond to it. Like, I know that's a big thing of yours too, is like, just kind of control that, like when you get home, take those breaths or make it worse. Like,
yeah, the another big things that stuck out to me was from Ed Milet.
Yeah.
And he said, it happened for me, not to me.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to take too, because, like, think of it as like, if you're always having a bad day, or like you can't keep a job, or like maybe those are opportunities for you to get better.
Yeah.
You're being challenged. And we all have an option. We all have a decision to make, right? So, like, don't think as they're bad things that are happening to you and like, oh, why, poor me? Well, like, hey, let's just make better decisions and trying to figure out how to handle them better. And then eventually these decisions that you were making that you thought were hard are no longer hard.
Yeah. For me, it's a lot of like the woe is me mindset. It's the, like, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened, and then I'm super stressed and I'm overstimulated, and then this happened, and then now I'm home and it's loud and it's a lot, and it's, well, let's think about what choices that you made to get you here, right?
Yeah, it's a victim mentality.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they're always playing, I don't know, defense.
Yeah.
Like, start playing offense, and that's the mental toughness, and taking care of your body and putting yourself going through hardship on purpose so you can handle the stressful times.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it now.
Yeah, well, it's better. I know another one of my favorite quotes, if we're going to get there, is like, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than it is to be a gardener in a war, right? So if you're used to and you're ready for hard stuff, but your life is not hard stuff other than the hard stuff you put yourself through, then when hard stuff comes up, you're going to be you're going to attack it way easier than if you weren't putting yourself through hard things, right? So love it. Just like that mentality of, like, I can get it, I can do it. And so, again, sometimes it's hard. Like, life's hard. Life can get anyone down. You get tired, you get exhausted. Like, it takes a lot of energy to mentally work through different situations. It takes a lot of energy to do that. And sometimes it's energy, sometimes it's just effort. Like Drew Dudley says, day one mentality. It's like, treat it like it's the first day that you are looking into starting Muscle Mart. Like, the amount of energy that you had to put in the first 6 months, year. I mean, still now, but then, like, we attack every day like it's the very first time.
That kind of things why when you work at a job for so long and you end up hating that job, what changed? Did the job change, or did you change?
Yeah.
Did you start looking at the job differently? Job probably didn't change that much.
Yeah.
We just forgot why we started.
Yeah. You got to remember your why.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's big to keep people driven when at times when your tank is low,
Yeah.
you got to remember your why, and you got to fill your cup. You got to fill your own cup so you can pour it into other people's, right? If you
Right.
can't pour out of an empty cup. We talk a little bit about some of that as well, but like, what are things you do to fill your cup? If you're having just a day where you're just drained, you're like, man, I'm just drained. Because there's a lot of things. I'll let you think about it. There's a lot of things that can go into that. Like some people are super rooted in faith. Some people like the gym gets them energy. Some people, it's your spouse. It's your relationships with your parents or your kids, or it can be a lot of things. Some people, like I said, it can be like faith and like, oh, I just go read whatever, Mark or Luke, and I feel better. Like, do you have things that like when you are totally empty, you're like, that's gonna like pick me up a little bit?
Yes and no. I think I just try to look at it as, hey, this is just paying your dues to get to where you want to go. Like it's just another day.
Yeah.
Like we're always gonna have bad times and bad moments. But just you keep pressing forward, and it's like years down the road, like you're like, holy shit, how the hell did I get there? Like that's just kind of look at how the business got here. It's like we had, Jace was a newborn, and was starting a business all at the same time. I was quitting a full-time job to not knowing if his business was even going to succeed. I had people tell me that it wasn't like, why don't you just do it online? Why are you quitting, $100,000 job a year to not knowing? Like, why don't we have good insurance, and why don't you work both jobs or something like that? I'm like, there's a lot of unknown stuff, but like, I think just willing to do whatever it takes. And I think that's that mentality of like, I know life's hard, but I'm willing to literally do whatever it takes to succeed. Like, and that's the kind of the mentality I've had since opening my shop up. Like, I don't fucking care how hard it is. I'll work 2 jobs. Like, I don't care.
And as an entrepreneur, that's almost the mindset that you have to tackle, especially those first few years. Is like, if you aren't committed enough to give it everything that you can, I mean, failure rate of new businesses in the first 2 years is super high, right? You get past that first 24 months, and a lot of it is that mentality. If I have to do something else to help support it while it's getting going, like I need to do it or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a big part of it.
And realistically, marriage is similar as a new business too. Like, you're in it, you're committed, so you have to do really whatever it takes to keep it growing.
And I think when we talk about some of this too, I think about like the part that excuses, like the woe is me, and the part that excuses play in that. Like if you could probably come up with 20 excuses for almost anything in life, whether it's not achieving your goal or like there's excuses for everything, and I think people find those excuses pretty readily and pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I think when we talk about like growing, we can't grow if you're still telling yourself that same story about why you can't, right? Like, oh, I just can't get up 30 minutes earlier. I just can't. Like, it's too cold. I'm tired. The kids didn't sleep. Everyone's sick. There are endless excuses for that. But that real growth really happens when you get sick of what you tell yourself.
You're
like
sick of your own self.
You get sick of being like, I just want to do this, and like I just need to. Like if I get a less 30 minutes less sleep than I would have, like whatever, I'm gonna feel mentally better because I'm starting to work towards being a better person because of it. But yeah, I think when we talk about growth, it's like you've got to get sick of what you're telling yourself to a point. Like once you get sick of that, like, wow, I guess I probably could do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a big one for me. I just go so tired of myself. Like, I didn't make a lot of excuses, like, realistically, and I never got fired from jobs and stuff like that. But I hate excuses. I hate my own excuses. I don't... As soon as I had a big day, like, can I just... Or, like, food-wise, like, I just get tired of eating the same food. I'm like, let me just have a I don't know, some fucking ice cream or something, you know. But it's like, will that get me to where I want to go? Yeah. Am I gonna be able to? It's how bad do you want it? And I think that's some people are just comfortable, and I think that's perfectly okay.
But growth stops in living in comfort, right? So if you get to a point where you're comfortable at work, you're not trying as hard as you were on day. You don't have day one mentality because you get comfortable, then you're comfortable. Like why do you want to get better if you're comfortable?
Right.
Good. Yeah. Good. I'm just good. But are you good? Or is that a story that you're telling yourself that you're good because things are okay?
People around you, like, you've worked hard enough, or you're in good enough shape. Like, you don't need to do that. And I'm like, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole. It's just,
that's a whole nother thing.
Just trying to have people tell you what you want.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I struggle with that sometimes too. Like, because perspective is everything. Mm-hmm. So, other people's opinions, and I have people that I trust and listen to, and I think there are people that what they say and I take for granted.
Yeah.
And there are people that I take what they say, I take with a grain of salt, and there are people that I really trust. But it's all about perspective, because no one can truly give you advice that hasn't walked in your shoes, and everyone's story is different. So no one has been in your shoes. No one. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. No one's been in those shoes, and everyone's challenges are different, and everyone's mental aptitude is different to be able to handle those challenges. But I think that's, where some of these conversations come from, is just like that ability for not only me, myself, because these are great reminders of things like you want to be better for yourself, for your family, for your kids, for work. You want to be better. But also to just help, someone else pick up some nuggets to see, like, maybe they want to be better too. Like, let's make a better group of people in general.
That's right.
What advice do you have to be the best? Just be the best person you can be. Be the best dad you can be. How do you be the best Jordan you can be?
This is the start of being the best version of yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't, you can't take care of other people to the best of your ability if you're not taking care of yourself to the best of your ability. Mm-hmm. Like, 100%. When they say, like, if you're in an airplane and the oxygen mask fall down, like, you're supposed to put the oxygen mask on your child first before you put it on yourself. No, sorry. That's wrong. It's the other way around. I totally fucked that up. Yeah. It's the other way around. You put it on yourself
first.
Yeah. And there's a reason for that. Yeah. Like, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't help someone else. Mm-hmm. So, and it goes back to business and the father being all that, because, like, if I'm putting myself through hard times on purpose, I am able to assist my wife and my kids to get through their hard times. Mm-hmm. If I want everything to be easy, how am I supposed to be able to help them? Because I won't know. But if I've already been through what they are about to go through, no problem. Yeah. You can actually give real advice and understand the pain that they're about to go through or they're going through.
And even if it's not something you've been through, so, like, you can't really empathize with it, you can still sympathize with it, right? So,
of course.
So even if it's something like you haven't gone through, like, I just can't imagine, I think it's, which for me, this is, if we get into that conversation, that's totally something that I am so bad at. I used to be terrible. Now I'm just bad.
Yeah.
At being able to empathize with situations. It's something that I really, really would like to try and work on and continue to get better at. But in full transparency, it's something that I'm terrible at.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's what people need.
Yeah.
And
I think being open with my own issues to, like, a random stranger all the time has helped me get past all that and being like, I could tell you anything I've ever did. Don't care. And it's not because, like, it's because, like, it helps people. It helps be more relatable and understanding that we all go through hard times. They may not be exactly the same. Even if it's the same situations, everybody's feelings is different, right? And that's So just being open and understanding and knowing that no one's perfect, but if we're all should be trying to improve and be better.
Some of us are.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, where else are we going to kind of talk? We talked about a lot of stuff today, a lot of good stuff. Accountability. So one last thing on self-accountability. So like, because this is where people get, this kind of ties into comfort, right? So you talk about accountability and like holding yourself accountable to doing things. Well, if you don't do that, that's when things can get sloppy, right? Because if you tell yourself, I'm going to get in the cold plunge for 3 minutes every morning, the minute that you stop and you realize there's no negative repercussions from that is when you get into this, the comfort mindset, and that's where you stop growing, right? So I think like that's such a hard thing because especially like you talk about in the physical realm, in the physical fitness realm, because it's so huge and so common. Like how do you hold yourself accountable to go into the gym 5 days a week when last week I went 4 and I still felt fine?
Yeah.
Like that is such a challenge because you're like, oh, I didn't make it Friday, but like I still went 4, and then you try to rationalize with excuses. I still went 4 times. I still feel good. But mentally, you know that you didn't do what you told yourself you were going to do.
Yeah.
So I think that can drive down a mental rabbit hole too, of them being able to tell yourself, like, can I actually do, like subconsciously, can I actually do what I say I'm going to do? Or am I going to make an excuse for why I only got 80% of the way there? Why I only worked out 4 out of the 5 days? I don't really know there's much of a question to that. I think it's just something that as we've been talking, it kind of hits me because I'm like, there's a challenge to knowing, like, it's very hard to hold yourself accountable. Like, you're like, I still feel fine. Like, there's nothing negative happened because I didn't go that 5th day, right?
Yeah.
But mentally, like subconsciously, are you going to tell yourself that story now? And then now you're only going to work 80% as hard on all of your other things because you worked 80% as hard there and you got away with it and still feel fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's loaded.
No, I get it.
I wish I had a mental health counselor here to be able to like talk about the physiology behind what happens if you some psych therapy.
I think part of it is never being satisfied.
Yeah.
Like you can be truly be happy and moderately content. Like I have a good life. I can't complain. But do I want more? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so not being completely satisfied with your life I think that's a big portion. So if you automatically, it's good enough, that good enough mentality is that's toxic. That doesn't just affect you, that affects your entire family.
Affects everyone around you.
100%. And then we can go on the extreme side, like never being satisfied, nothing's fucking good enough. And that's can be bad in itself. Yeah. And in the business mindset and then in the gym mindset, I tread that line sometimes. But I think I'd rather have it this way and then the other way.
Yeah. More disciplined that way, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's I don't know where my story is gonna go. I don't know, like I know what I like to do with it and then like the shape I want to be in, but like there's no end in sight.
Yeah,
there's no end goal.
Again, it's not a goal; it's a habit, right? It's I need to get to the gym 5 days this week. It's not I want to do this or that or that. It's just like the habits that you need to change to make yourself feel physically and mentally.
Yeah,
fill your own cup to fill other people's. I mean, at the end, like we said, like you can't help someone else, you don't help yourself. Yep. And if you feel your best, you know where you feel your best.
I think just doing something that you don't want to do on a weekly basis ish, there's growth there. And I think being uncomfortable a lot of the time, or try to be, or if it's just trying to ask somebody who's having a rough day at a gas station. You can see it on their face. Mm-hmm. Did you say something or not? Like, does it make you nervous to speak to somebody you don't know? It did for me. you know. But like, if you see somebody's having a bad time, like, ask, "Are you doing okay?"
Yeah.
You know, like there's an uncomfortable moment right there. You know, speaking to strangers sometimes, especially if you're not used to it. Especially for me, like it was really hard. I've had to get over it. But just doing little things that are uncomfortable all the time can keep you progressing all the time.
You know, you know what the word for that is, right?
No.
It's rejection therapy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what it is.
So, speaking on my Drew Dudley soapbox, same guy. Later on in that book, he talks about, especially in entrepreneurship and in business development, it's a lot of people struggle because they are scared of the unknown, and you're scared of rejection. You're scared of failing. You're scared of getting rejected. So there's a form of therapy called rejection therapy where a lot of people put it into practice, but you take like one day every month and you like go out in public and you put yourself out there to intentionally get rejected as many times as you can. So that way it makes you more liberal in your business decisions. Like, so you are less scared of being rejected when you go to make a sales pitch or when you go to create a new customer.
Yeah.
So like, I think they give examples, everything from like, you know, you see a police officer like, hey, can I shoot your gun at the stop sign? Like, he's going to say no, but there is growth that happens in the uncomfort of asking a question that you think someone is going to say no, but like maybe they might not. Like in the story, you know, just the one story with the cop is like, you know, we asked the cop if we could shoot his gun. He said no, but you can come and check out. And he like let him like drive the cop car on the parking lot. He let him mess with the sirens. Like he let him do other stuff. He's like, so there is so much growth that happens when you ask uncomfortable questions. Yeah. And that is all part of this like rejection thing. He's like, I go out and I ask. He's like, you know, I don't have any specific, like any, like physical attributes, or like I'm not a beautiful man, like, but I go out on those rejection days and I purposefully ask 10 beautiful women if they'll go have lunch with me. He's like, because he's like, you get no a lot less than you think. Oh, he's like, so that teaches you to be a more aggressive entrepreneur. It's called rejection therapy.
There's a good way to, there's a program actually out. So it's called 75 Hard by Andy Frisella.
Yeah.
The Live Hard program. And the Live Hard program, that is part of it, actually. Yeah. Going to a grocery store or a gas station or whatever and speaking to a stranger every day.
Growth happens when you live outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's pretty much how your entire life should be.
Get in the ice bath, push yourself at the gym, talk to strangers, make a positive influence on someone else.
And it's almost kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think about this. Like, in school, I was extremely, extremely shy. Yeah. Like, I couldn't talk in front of a class or to, let alone a girl, without having a shaky voice. Talking to 5 people, I couldn't do it.
I think you're preaching to the choir. I think there's a lot of people out there that either were or still are like that, right? Yeah. I think fear of public speaking is the number one fear of most adults in America.
So bad.
Whether it's in front of 10 or 30 or 1,000 people, it doesn't, you know.
Yeah. After I was 6 when my dad died, and my mom said for 3 years I really didn't talk to anybody. No friends, no nothing, just completely just closed off. And so think about that now, to like back then to now, is just polar opposite. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still struggle with it. If I have a new customer walking up, I get a little nervous. Like, you know, I don't know what they're going to ask. I don't know what they expect, you know. Like, my store is me. And I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. That's the way mine is, and I don't really care. But yeah, that's kind of what makes it what it is. Mm-hmm. So when someone judges my store, the product, I feel like they're judging me. And it probably shouldn't be like that, but that's actually kind of another way how it helps me grow.
I was gonna say that's exactly how you help yourself grow, is if you see that as a reflection of you. Then if living in the uncomfortable, if people come in and they're maybe unsatisfied with something or other, it helps you find avenues to grow professionally, which then helps you personally.
It does, and it does massively, whether it's bringing new product in or flavors or just expanding my knowledge of nutrition. Trying to be prepared for any question, which is obviously really hard. Yeah. That's mental growth in itself.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Good time.
good time. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you so much for kind of coming on the podcast and talking a little bit about everything, right? Mental toughness, discipline, controlling the outcome, a little bit about cold plunging, physical fitness, entrepreneurship, being a dad. Appreciate you for coming on. Those that are listening or watching that are from Northwest Ohio area, please give Muscle Mart check out. He's got all the social pages, but he's also got a really awesome store there in Lima, Ohio. So make sure you check that out. Check out the All Things Dad podcast, obviously, wherever you get your podcasts. YouTube, check out all the social channels. I think we got Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest / All Things Dad 1. Also the blog at allthingsdadblog.com. Make sure you check all that stuff out, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.